In just a matter of seconds, car accidents can jeopardize your whole life. The impact and force can lead to some of the most serious injuries one could ever suffer from. One example would be the story of Liz Soden. Next to her then-fiancé, Brad, the family accidentally went off the road and hit an embankment. Because of the crash, she was left paralyzed from the waist down. Brad was driving, so he could not stop feeling guilty. So he decided to do something about it, something incredible.
Before we begin, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell to be inspired by these heartwarming stories every day.
Everything was going smooth. There were not big issues or difficulties that Brad Soden and his soon-to-be wife Liz had to face. Their life together was looking pretty awesome. They were madly in love and were confident that they could face anything together. The two were sure that they were each other's soulmate. They loved being together and getting through whatever life hands them, good or bad. We all know that life never goes like planned. We can never be sure of what tomorrow holds for us. Therefore, it is always wise to spend every day that we get wisely and be grateful for it. Liz and Brad were about to realize that time is precious and that not everything is not under their control. 3 months prior to their wedding day, life handed them a difficult task that would test their relationship. This was just an ordinary ride in the car. Nothing was different from other times the whole family went traveling. Brad was the one in the driver's seat of his truck while Liz was in the front, next to him. Also, their kids were in the back of the truck. Everyone was not expecting anything to happen as they went to their destination. But then suddenly, out of nowhere, the front tire blew. And since no one was expecting this to happen, it took everyone by surprise, leaving no time for anyone to take precautions. And before Brad or Liz could even process what took place, the car crashed into an embankment on the roadside with heavy force. Brad and the kids were left with just minor injuries and scrapes. Liz, on the other hand, was not so fortunate. The family all rushed to the hospital straight after. And when they reached the hospital, Liz was told that she was now paralyzed and would never be able to walk again. This was such a devastating blow to the family as it all happened so suddenly. Liz did not want to worry her family and tried hard to keep her emotions bottled, but Brad was able to see that she was not fine at all. Since he was the one driving the truck, he felt an immense amount of guilt to see that the accident had left his loving fiancé paralyzed. Liz was now a handicapped person, just because of the accident that had taken place while everyone was riding the truck. Since he could tell that she was not feeling all right, Brad took this as a motivation to do something other would deem impossible for his lover. There was one good reason why Brad could sympathize with his fiancée so much. He was actually a combat veteran, so he knew how it felt to lose the sense of hope and feeling whole. From his past experience, Brad was not at all a stranger to heartache and loss. With that being said, he could not stand nor bear to see Liz in pain. This was all too much for him, so he decided to do something about it. Like we had mentioned earlier, Brad and Liz were soulmates, so that means they were each other's pillar of life. They laughed together and cried together, so that basically means that his happiness is her happiness and her sadness is his sadness too. He later revealed in an interview, "When you get her to cry, I'm motivated. I'll make it happen." It was the only motivation he could ever need. There was yet another reason why it would have been a hard blow to Liz. She was an avid hiker and camper. She looked to stay active and be outdoors, so Liz would inevitably miss out on some major parts of her life that she enjoyed so much. Since she is now basically unable to make use of her legs, she would have to give up the kind of life she enjoyed so much. When the people at the hospital broke the news to the family, they obviously did not receive it very well. Brad could still remember what Liz had told him when they were told that she had been paralyzed: "Go on without me." But for Brad, this was absolutely out of the question. He was not about to abandon his wife and live life on his own. He loved her so much and was willing to do all that he can to take care of her. Since he could not bear to see his darling fiancée's spirit being crushed, Brad knew that he had to get something done. He was hoping to build a solution to Liz's problem right in his very own garage. There was a catch though. Brad never had any formal training in engineering, so he was not going to have to learn everything from scratch if he wanted to make this happen. Brad did not even have a college degree, and engineers that he contacted had already confirmed that there were no reasonable technologies that would make Liz be able to hike and camp again. This would have made any other person give up straight away, but as for a man now lived with his depressed wife, these words were mere speed bumps along the journey. So Brad was set on doing something special for his lady love. Even though there were so many odds speaking against him, he was determined to make sure that Liz had a better life than she was expecting for herself. Later, in an interview, Brad revealed that he had used up 2 years and a bunch of beer to build the first prototype model, what he called Tonk Chair. Brad was not going to give up on creating something that would make his now paralyzed wife's life a little easier. So in the end, he made a new kind of wheelchair. This is a wheelchair that actually works on every terrain. Even though Brad had given a name to his creation, it was certainly a very casual title. Surely this could have been called something more suitable, right? Working on this brilliant invention was something that Brad was highly passionate about. He wished to help his wife however way he could, and without any prior training or knowledge, he built a brand new wheelchair from scratch. Since this was indeed a marvelous feat, it intrigued the media and public to know more about the wheelchair. Brad was happy to explain the functions of this wheelchair. In an interview he gave, Brad gladly explained how this amazing wheelchair functions. Do you have kids that got a football game on a muddy field? Cross it. Do you want to go fishing with your buddies? Go fishing. If it snows? He explained excitedly. So now you can get the gist of how this basically works. It would give people like his paralyzed wife a chance and the ability to explore the outdoors like never before. So the only thing left to do was to test it out on the one person who inspired this invention to come to life. Brad set Liz up in one of these tank chairs. Her life changed. It made it where I could go out and go hiking and camping, she revealed happily to the people interviewing her. It was obvious that she was very pleased with her husband's brand new invention made for her in mind. When the wheelchair was not done, she would feel very left out during the family's outings. When we went to the snow, I would sit in the car. Now I can get out, and I can chase my kids around, and I can go with them, she revealed to the interviewers. There was so much she still had to say about this life-changing device that her husband had made from scratch. Liz was so proud of her husband's invention. She could not stop praising him because she knew how dedicated and driven he was to make it all a success. She had a few other positive things to say about the wheelchair, like, just the hiking and getting out. I'm not a prisoner anymore in the car and in the house. She felt like she was given back so much of her past life. And would you like to know the best part of it all? Liz and Brad were quite pleased with how everything turned out, so they knew this could turn into something bigger. Her appreciation and use of his invention gave Brad a very spectacular idea. They then had an idea to spread the Tonk Chair to other wheelchair-stricken people who also love to spend time on the outdoors. Since his paralyzed wife benefited a lot from the wheelchair, it was clear that other people who are in the similar position would do too. And keeping in mind all the war veterans who had been wounded in combat, Brad soon opened up a shop meant to sell tank chairs. As you might have already guessed, this was a huge success and the people who needed it was more than pleased. One thing you must know is that, like all good services and gadgets, these wheelchairs do not come cheap. The most affordable Tonk Chair model is sold at $15,000. The price range increases and the most expensive one could go up to a staggering $53,000. This costly model, Brad revealed jokingly, can almost do your dishes. For a price like that, it must be quite the wheelchair. As expected, the tank chairs were a huge success when they were made available for purchase. So many amputees and handicapped people were able to make use of them to live an easier life. All the money Brad and his team of mechanics had earned, all went in the effort to improve and better these Tonk Chair designs. I'm not rich, but I have a lot of fun, he revealed in an interview. The initial plan for this wheelchair to be made was for his wife to get a better chance in life. This principle has still continued with Brad, and the only thing that keeps him going is the joy he feels from helping people. Money does not drive me. This is all about the smiles on people's faces and the families that I've helped, he admitted. Those people who have used the tank chairs have a lot to say as well. The idea was to help his wife get a better chance at living the previous adventurous life she was so fond of back to her. Brad had worked and spent countless hours into perfecting the Tonk Chair. His wife was pleased with what he had achieved, but little did they know that this would not only be for them. Beyond his wife, Brad and his Tonk Chair team has helped so many people lead an easier life. So many folks have come forward to testify that Brad's invention has helped them to get a better life. Betty Jean Hammond of Wickenburg, Arizona, is one of the few people who has been blessed by Brad's ingenuity. She is among the people who have gotten the chance to live a somewhat normal life once again after purchasing a Tonk Chair for herself. Just like Liz, this was another woman who loves to stay active and spend time outdoors. Betty Jean was someone who loved the outdoors and spends time doing what she enjoyed. But soon a huge problem struck her. She was a woman who loved her horses and thoroughly enjoyed riding them. Unfortunately, she soon lost the ability to walk, which left her devastated. This was not all. There were other complications that fell on her too. As a matter of fact, Her husband had passed away and all of her kids had moved out of their home. Betty Jean was now all alone and, just like Liz's case, she was now unable to take part in any of the activities she enjoyed doing. It was a very depressing life that she had to live after all of these things happened. With her capability to walk out the window, it was very stressful like that Betty Jean was living. She was a farm owner, but it wasn't going to take care of itself. Since she had so much duty to fulfill but couldn't due to her condition, she was feeling quite useless. She had so much of work, and it was necessary for her to tend to it. She needed a good solution for this, so what was her option? At the end, who came to her rescue? Well, the Tonk Chair was something that seemed like a solution to the issue that plagued her existence. She called up Tonk Chair, and she was given a used chair that allowed her to wrangle her horses with all the dexterity she could possibly need. This invention was something she had been looking for so long. She could not tend to her farm animals with ease. There is another person who had found this incredible invention truly useful. For combat veteran Chris Sullivan, the Tonk Chair had served as a very purposeful gadget that certainly helps him with his day-to-day activities. Chris had served in the military all the way in Iraq from 2005 to 2006. He was unfortunate because when he came home, he was paralyzed from the waist down. Because he had spent so much time in Iraq, it was unfortunate for him because his little son had only ever seen him in a wheelchair. He was a man who enjoyed serving for his country, but it came with a price, a huge price. Chris did not get a chance to run across the yard or play any active games with his beloved son. He had missed out on so many father-son activities which depressed him. And so, after Chris felt like he would never get the chance to do this with his son, there was an easy solution to his problem. Everything changed when he decided to purchase a Tonk Chair for himself. Chris could now play with his little buckaroo the way he had always wished to. His dreams became a reality after he was placed in one of the Tonk Chairs. His life then flipped for the better. In one of the videos that were uploaded, Chris was seen with his son. The two of them went bounding through the mud and grass, and right behind his son was Chris catching up to him using his new chair. He was even faster than a man who could run with 2 legs. Even his son could now tell everyone that his dad can play with him until he is tired even though he may be paralyzed from the waist down. It was indeed reassuring to hear about all the stories about people benefiting from the Tonk Chair for Brad and his gang. It was a sign that they were doing something positive for other people in need as well. It's the little things like that make this whole job worth it, Brad confessed after talking about Chris's story. Their hard work and efforts did pay off one way or the other. It had taken so many sleepless nights, perfecting what came to be known as the Tonk Chair. Brad was basically unskilled to do this but ended up accomplishing what everyone thought would never be possible. He ended up being so satisfied by the work he had done, he exclaimed, "When you see happiness. I can't really describe it, it's just really cool." He could barely keep his tears in. Everybody can whine and cry about stuff. Critics are so easy to find. You can't swing a dead cow without hitting one, Brad had told the interviewers, talking about good things take time and effort. The people working for Tonk Chair believe that they should take pride in finding solutions to debilitating problems. They get a gush of exhilaration when they hear about these stories. Even though the work is tedious and they have to sacrifice so many hours, in the end, they feel that their hard work is all worth it. Stories about Liz, Betty Jean, and Chris are obvious examples that there are people who are grateful every day for creators like Brad. Since they have all been given a new chance to be happy and live life to the fullest, the team feels content in the end. You can actually look at videos of the Tonk Chairs being used in action. It is actually enjoyable to see them blast through mud puddles and glide through water and snow. We can guarantee you that your face will light up when you see Brad's awesome work improving so many people's lives and mainly his wife Liz. He can certainly be considered a savior in a way, for so many disabled Americans. They say that in order to achieve something great and meaningful, all you need is an idea. We should remember that the Tonk Chair was created out of one man's wish to see his wife smiling and happy again. This certainly makes it all the more special. If Brad had not dedicated his time to working on this multi-purpose wheelchair, then none of this would have been possible. It is all due to true love and a brilliant idea.